They documented stuff,
Yeah,
on,
it's
you know,
really
sprayed on the
good.
sidewalks
He
and all
doesn't have
that
to,
kind of
but
stuff.
now.
Oh, yeah.
Just painted that red line on that.
Benefits.
Oh,
Are so good.
They could come back, no, Tom, just
You know.
let it go. Just let it go. That's what you-
okay, we ready?
Yeah.
Ready, lady?
Yeah, we're ready.
You're in charge. I just like doing that.
I would like,
That's really good. Oh, you've got a piece of it too.
yeah, oh yeah, piece of it.
Do
Okay,
it right?
need to take roll from my left, please.
Ellen Johnston.
Rob Thomas.
B.G. Zimmerman.
Ron Goodman.
Sam Rosling.
Kriston Martin.
We're here to decide to give us all raises,
Big
0 to 0.
and we don't want to work at all. We just want raises. You got it, Kriston, you got it. So, Ron and Leslie, I presume you're in charge of this.
Yes, and primarily Leslie.
The boss.
We had your desk there.
I did.
She moved it, didn't she?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I have to work with?
She picked it up in one piece.
Yeah.
You see what I'm up to. So I gave everybody preliminary
Yes.
budget data sheets. These are the sheets that come to us from OPI in March that kind of spell out what our general fund budget is going to be. And at the top, it talks about your A and B, and that's the driver to all the general fund components. Luckily, they allow us to use a 3-year average because we've had kind of a declining enrollment. So it allows us to use our 3 average years to kind of keep it more stabilized.
Gentle.
Anyway, it breaks it down by what we get for the kids, what we get from direct state aid. We get a quality educator payment. We get so
What
much.
is that?
We get so much per teacher.
Oh,
I think it's about $3,000 per qualified teacher. So we report, just like we do A and B, we report our qualified teachers, and then we get money for that. We get so much money for special education. We get a related services block grant. And then we're required to spend almost 270 as a minimum on special education. However, then there's your maintenance of effort. And we have to spend almost 800,000 towards special education expenditures per year. But that includes out of the general fund, the tuition fund, and the retirement fund.
gotcha.
So it's always real important
So,
to code your special education expenditures correct so that you can meet this mandatory amount you have to spend. So on that page 8, it tells you what we can adopt is the highest budget without a vote, which is the $8,842,000.
Letter E.
Mm-hmm.
So D.
No.
D.
D, yeah,
That's the highest we can budget without a vote. What do we budget then? Sorry, I don't.
exactly that,
Okay.
yeah.
If you go down to F, that's the highest amount of money that we could spend with a vote.
We could add another $1 million onto our budget if we could pass a levy.
I thought maybe it's at one time, or I just misunderstood the voting and no vote, that we didn't reach. We have not reached the maximum we could reach. So the maximum we could reach takes a vote. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it, and thank you.
Which the maximum we could meet is the $9,899,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are we thinking about trying to do a levy or no?
Talked about that today. So I guess I have a question before that. So if we voted to letter F, highest amount, and said, hey, we're gonna raise taxes on everybody by $1,056,718
And 11 cents.
and 11 cents. That is an annual vote, or is that an annual vote, or is that
Once it's voted,
once
it's
it's in?
Once it's voted in, it's in.
That's nice.
Hmm.
So one-time levy for 1 million a year.
Ooh,
Yeah, when you think,
I mean, we're gonna have to think about it at some point with that, with the parking lots. I mean, right there, that will gobble up.
but I wonder if things will be better after the next legislature with property taxes. I would like to think so. I'm guessing it probably won't, but I mean, people would feel a little better about
Sure.
a levy.
well, this year would probably have been the worst year to do it after the debacle with the mill.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That misunderstanding that I
Right.
think anybody truly understands.
So we all get our money back at some point. We
Yeah.
apply for it.
Yeah.
Which was, yeah,
I'd like to get all the money back.
It's over.
4 days.
No, that's what you could first do,
First.
it's the 15th.
October.
You go, it's over.
It's over. October.
Yeah,
1st is
it's
the
over.
last.
You missed
You
it.
missed it.
You
Yeah,
missed
you
it.
did. Look on your face and stuff like
Rash
that.
on my-
Before,
yeah.
How does
So-
the levy work in terms of, I mean, it's voted on, obviously, if it's shot down, you could try again next year and the next year and the next, you just keep,
Plugging away at it.
Yeah.
and I think I already know the answer to this, but is Libby in a bad spot because there are so many retirees moving here and such that they don't have kids, so they don't have anything to gain by,
Libby's
Putting
in a
into the
spot where
pools.
there's a lot of people that will not vote for anything that increases anything. Period. It doesn't matter what it is or how good it is. That group of people up there by the Red Dog, they voted down that fire department extension.
Yes.
Because it would have added taxes, but it would have lowered their homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. People just,
just in
Just-
general, no.
Just in general.
their homeowners insurance would have went down to cover the cost
Mhm.
of the fire department, and they still said no. So that's just where this community's at, in my opinion.
Well, I think there's another.
I wish your opinion was wrong.
And I would say this much, it's not, I agree, there's a lot of people that are gonna say, you know what, I live on this amount of money and there's no way that, you know, there's inequality in their lifestyle and probably the people who work in the school district, that's a problem. But the other issue is, and I always use this example, so drive through Whitefish and just estimate property values. We got the grocery stores, plural, you got motels, you got all this kind of stuff going on. You got the Grouse Mountain Lodge, you got a mall, car dealerships. And there's gonna be like 60, 70 businesses as you drive through town that are going, okay, that business is worth more than my house.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In Libby, if you drive through Libby and say, okay, we got the Venture, we got Rosars, I don't know what the hospital does. I think it's a nonprofit. I don't know if they have the same tax structure, but the hospital would definitely be a big deal. And as far as paying taxes, but by the time you get past like 6 or 7 businesses, you're talking about somebody's house that is the largest property tax payer. I mean, you're going to be, what, 60, 70 businesses in before you talk about Daddy Warbucks' house in Whitefish. So that whole issue of that person that has the house there and realizing it's going to go up, you know, X number of dollars, so much of it is borne on that guy's house. That's the property tax that's going to pay for this.
Right.
And so the industry, you know, when the mill was open and the mine was open, can you imagine the taxable valuation of those properties? And so I just look at that and there's the other part of it
It
too.
really does fall to the,
Homeowners.
yeah.
Homeowners.
I wonder how reliable the new motel coming in really is. I mean, the sign is up.
Well, I will say this much, you know, I always try to estimate the Rosars, I think, is number one. The hospital pays what they do, they would be number one. But then I'm looking at the new buildings on the property that you guys sold and realizing those are going to be top on they're going to pay in some taxes. And so that's all good. And what I've heard is that building, and there's another one coming after that.
Is there?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that why we had to tell you, yes, sign the letter saying it was fine?
We don't want to buy it.
Yeah.
We don't want to buy into that property back. So,
Just keep signing those letters.
yep. Yeah. So I don't know who bought it or whatever, But yeah, we had the first choice to buy it, but I bet it wouldn't have been the same price that we sold it for. That's,
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
anyway. So, yeah, that whole issue of passing a mill levy and really not there's just, I think that's hard. And when I was in Circle, it went down to the farmers. And
Mhm.
that was,
But we have passed one. I mean, we did get that one when we needed it.
15 years ago,
Oh, no, it hasn't been that long ago.
8 years ago.
8.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But it was limited.
It was.
Yes, it was just 5 years, wasn't it?
So one other
800,000, was it?
question with historical stuff is, I'm just curious about, is back in the 80s when things were booming with the mine and the mill and stuff, I mean, you had all the schools. So were the schools flush then, or was it?
We had more students also,
Schools were new,
you know.
or,
We didn't even build them.
yeah,
Yeah, the Corps of Engineers built them.
Really? Plumber.
in the 60s, so they weren't that old.
Yeah, that surprised me when I came to town.
Okay,
Wow.
So Rob, I agree with you. That would be the third nail, that people aren't used to that. It's not something that typically gets passed in this town.
This has been a town that has kind of been, seems to me, a company town, you know, for so long. And people are still in that mode. They're waiting for the company to do something. And there isn't a company anymore. You know, because according to my in-laws, I mean, you know, Jane Niels just kind of did things.
I think Zone Light did as well.
Oh, I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
There will be some savings to the taxpayer this coming year. We no longer are getting that transformational learning grant. And that was the grant that we could permissibly levy matching funds. So that's $60,000 that we won't be levying this next year. Also, the county houses our money and they invest, and then we get interest. And interest comes quarterly, and it's always averaged between $3,000 and $8,000 a quarter, approximately. Well,
A
this
quarter?
interest on the county is investing differently. So
I must have it in a money market then.
we received a lot of interest this year. We
Whoa.
received about $83,000 worth of interest just in the general fund.
That's significant. Yes.
It's not extra
weird.
money,
Yeah.
but what it does is offset the number of mills we have to.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Because we did get so much, though, we had to return some of it, which will offset taxes for this next year.
I know what
Which is
fund
kind
that's.
of-
Well, that's good.
And the interest, when we receive it, is evenly, proportionately distributed across all the funds.
That's why
So we've gained
Oh,
some
I see.
interest
Yeah.
in our building fund,
Mhm.
and those places, that'll be of a good benefit to us too. It's been a nice surprise, but we're both sitting waiting for the shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Right.
We are not believing people. We are just waiting, yeah.
The transportation fund went up some just because it increases. There was it a 3.2% increase this year? We're always allowed to budget in the transportation fund a contingency amount. And that amount is given to us by the state, but we always budget it, and they recommend you do. In case that you ever needed to have another bus route, or if we ended up with individual transportation contracts we weren't counting on, we have money to cover that without having to ask for a budget amendment. Tuition fund. And this was a nice change for us a few years back when we were allowed to levy for the cost of our one-on-one students that require through their IEP one-on-one care. So that has really been able to help us.
So is that the part under total
13.
special education allowable cost payment, or that's
I
already?
switched pages on you. I'm back over to this page now.
No, which,
Sorry.
Is it 7, 8, or 9?
10, or tuition fund 13.
So do we have more pages, please? Oh. Well,
So this did go up a little bit more than last year. We have, well, wages went up, so that drove this cost up a little for the one-on-ones with our students. The retirement fund, we actually didn't increase it at all. We had enough left over from last year that can carry us through on this next year. So I didn't want to raise it.
it's a lot of money, isn't it?
It is a lot of money.
It sure is nice, though.
And this covers the portion the district pays for all the retirements, your social security, Medicare, unemployment. The adult ed, it's kind of stayed the same for several years now. And that's the amount that we give to the college to run the adult education program.
Question on that. What if we have people that want to take advantage of that, want to get well, it's not a GED anymore.
I see.
Yeah. And they don't offer it at the college. What do we do?
Well, we have the kids upstairs. I would say a third of the kids upstairs are studying for high set. But they have something that they do at the college.
Well, Keith and Brenda did it,
They don't do it anymore.
but they're not doing it anymore. That's what I wondered.
Yeah, and
Because I know of someone who might be interested, and
I would check with them because I think they offer something. I mean, obviously they give the test, but the study for it,
but the studying for it is massive.
I'd say a third of the kids upstairs
Or
are studying for that.
they're lucky to be here to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
We could charge people in their 30s to come up there and
Yeah.
study.
The technology fund, we always just kind of budget approximately that amount. In case there was a need that we have to do a major technology upgrade or buy computers or what.
We don't have to do we just subsequently get new Chromebooks for classes? One class at a time or something? Yeah.
Kind of buy them and
Yeah, that's what I wondered.
And they also, the schools charge a fee for those, and then that helps offset those replacement and repair costs.
There is a rental fee or something, isn't there?
Yeah.
Does that include replacing iPads for school board members who lost theirs? No. Oh.
It's just a flat no.
Your salaries get.
Capital N, capital O.
You want to ask again?
We can
So
talk
we'll
to
turn
Charles
out-
for some.
Huh?
We can talk to Charles.
Okay, I already have, I'm waiting to hear.
Okay.
You can ping it.
So the flex fund is where we carried that transformational learning grant that we are no longer getting, that we could even permissively levy the same amount. So that levy's going to drop. This grant we house it in this fund, but it's not a permissive levy. This is just a grant we're getting, and this is what's going to operate the Kootenai Outdoor Adventure Program.
Oh, good.
And that lasts forever. We're just, as long as we have to do our little report and then the Board of Education approves it.
Bill's been keeping the hospital busy with that program.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, isn't he?
Yes,
I
yes.
think we should buy him, I think we should
Self-flash.
buy him a Land Cruiser because he's really hard on our minivans. Smokes them.
So the state, in the building fund, OPI allows us $163,000 of state major maintenance aid. And we can permissibly levy 72,000 of it, and then the state gives us just about 91,000 of it. So that's what makes up that 163,000 for, and we have 300 left over from last year. So we'll have a nice pot to finish up work on roofs and do some different stuff with this next year. The ESSER grant has kind of afforded us to be able to do that.
We
the last
have
couple
been
years.
really lucky with that. I hated to say COVID was a blessing, but
For the facilities it was, that's for sure.
Well, I'll just say this, these two really,
They-
especially that
they
one,
did.
really.
I
spent it
keep
well.
singing their praises.
Mhm, yep, should be.
So, in a way, I'm glad to see it go because it's a paperwork nightmare, but.
I think we spent that money about as well as,
Oh,
Yep.
Hmm.
I'll bet you did better than any other district.
I agree.
We have just a little left that'll cover salaries into September, and then it'll be pretty much done.
yes, money comes.
Yes. About 20,000 a month.
And then we can change our board meetings.
Yes.
we can get it off the agenda.
So really, no really standout changes this year, other than the loss of that transformational learning grant. But that was a 7-year run on that, wasn't it? Or 5 years?
Yeah,
It was 5 years.
getting the grant is the easy part.
Which
No.
grant?
Any grant.
Well,
Landing the grant is like, oh yay, and then
Yeah.
the rest of it is a pain in the behind.
what about our, have we heard yet about, Deanna Malavac's?
Oh, yeah, just a smidge. I sat in on a meeting with that a while ago. They're gonna, the gear up is, they're gonna do something. They may not have as much money as they've had in the past, but
Well, that's hope,
Yeah.
you know.
you might know more on that too.
I
But
think
it
maybe
sounds
we're-
like they're gonna fund us. They already approved us, I think.
I think they
For
did,
the
but
next cycle.
her hours are gonna go down, I think. I think that's all. that's
Yeah, it
changing.
won't be as much.
Mhm.
That's such a good program, though.
It is a good program.
It's been consistent, I'll tell you that much.
Sure has. You know, and she's known at the state level, she was on the board and stuff, you know, so. Yeah. Just helping our kids, getting them out of the town of Libby to see that there are other places to go. Some of them. Questions?
Just a comment, I still think we should run a mill levy. And just looking at that building reserve fund, one bad roof and it's gone.
Yeah,
That's the scary part. If we wait to run a mill levy when we need it, it's gonna be too late. But just looking at the high school parking lot, Ron gave us a tour, Rob and Ellen were there. If you guys, next time you go to the high school, look at where you walk into the high school gym. It's the same level as the parking lot, because that's how many layers we've raised it.
That many?
Yeah.
overlay.
It's
Now
at
it's-
its end of life.
Pretty soon, we'll be just stepping down.
Yeah,
Now it was-
I need steps to
Yeah,
get
we're
into
gonna need
the.
some ramps.
we just.
Yeah, I want a ramp, please.
Something to keep the water from coming.
So running the mill levy, would that money go into the building reserve fund, or does it go across?
Well, you have to say what it's for.
You can run a building levy.
Where it would be
reserve levy. It'd be that
reserve
5X
just-
thing again, or you can try to run a general fund. And my recommendation is do the general fund.
Because then it's there.
Perpetual.
And if you want to spend it on a parking lot, you can do that. But then you get it again and again every year, so.
But like we had said previously, a new roof is 400,000 and just one pod, and we still had one pod, correct, that we need?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you were talking about the yellow pot.
I got an upgrade on that. So the guy, we sat down, a guy from Tremco, and he said, roofing products go up 7% a year. And so he said now to replace the yellow pod, it's about 600,000.
Oh my gosh,
So lied, you said it was 400,000.
Yeah, exactly.
yes,
It's 200,000 when we started, and then it was
Yeah.
400, now it's 600,000.
where's the money going?
So the interesting thing on that with Trimco, the replacement, and again, this is that part of the MCS, is the bidding co-op. They vet everybody to get in there. And Progressive Roof used to be on there until they flooded us out twice, and then they pulled out. It pulled out of the state.
Mhm.
And so thank you very much for their warranty, but it's worth nothing now. And so this Tremco company is the one that wants to do refurbishing.
Mhm.
And it's about $45 per square foot. $45.
Yes,
Mhm.
And it's just nuts. And what they can refurbish the roofs for $17 per square foot. Well, I mean, that's less than half.
Yeah.
And so the issue is if we let, and he finished, he finished and dropped off his report, walked me through all of it. There's one roof that they believe is probably needs to be done, needs to be roofed, and that's the middle high school library. And that's $45 per square foot, and probably every bit of it, because there are two roofs on it. So they, 40 years ago, they roofed it, and when it started having problems, they put another roof over the top. And who knows what's in there as far as asbestos or anything else. I mean, it's really expensive to do those roofs.
so that wasn't done when we did the rest of the,
Mm-mm.
okay.
Library roof.
I just remember watching them do
Mhm.
the gym, that was so much, it was like a ballet.
Yeah.
Well, and that gym roof needed it bad. That was,
Well, when they were up there picking up pieces and throwing with their hands, it kind of tells
carefully
you.
there, guys. Yeah, no, and so that issue of the rest of the roofs in our district, or the next roof would be the white pod, the administrative wing at the elementary school. And it's starting, that would be a good candidate for refurbishing. So you look at that, say $45 per square foot or $17. That's the deal. And furthermore, the refurbished roofs actually have a thicker layer of urethane on it.
Mhm.
They come with a 20-year warranty. And so it really, I think it represents, to Sam's point, holy smokes. I'm with you on that as far as trying to pass that and explain to people, here's what's going on. And if we don't start doing that, then letting it be something.
Sam, are you thinking of now or next week?
Soon, I think
Spring,
sooner
right?
the better, in spring,
You run it
yeah.
with your regular election,
Yeah.
but you have to, I believe it's in March, you have to say whether you're gonna have a levy election or not.
I think we ought to try it.
Well, I wonder if, like Sam's saying, I mean, or if it doesn't work this time, we just keep doing it.
But it costs money, correct, to run?
$10,000.
That's the downside.
Well, wait,
But if you have to have a treasurer.
Yeah.
We got our bill, wasn't near that we did from the, it was just
yeah.
over $5,000.
Yeah.
Oh, seriously?
So it does cost money.
Yeah.
yes,
Some of the supplies we had, because we had purchased to run our own.
I remember you saying that.
So we gave those to the county, so we wouldn't have to pay for those again, but, so my guess is probably around 6,000.
So I think just like we talked about with the policy on cell phones. You go ahead and gather information and I just sent you guys the screenagers. It has all sorts of stuff, all these ways to share information. And my feeling is I think the same thing with this levy. And, I can go talk to groups in the community and stuff like that and say, here's the deal. This is what's taking place across the state. Many schools are spending $1 million more. And we had ESSER money and we were able to spend it pretty wisely. And we had that opportunity and we did it. But this is really what schools should look like. And how are we going to compete on salaries with schools our size that are getting $1 million more? I think those are some of the talking points. And start,
And if correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I read that we are the most federally funded the least locally funded school in the state. If I'm,
I would say we're right close up there.
yeah, if not, we're in the top 5 at least.
Well, to Rob's point, what's the history?
Yeah.
So in the sixties and seventies, at Plummer, McGrade, the elementary school, the science
It's
wing and the music wing of the high school, yeah, tons of support over the years. And I think I would think the last building that we ever built with taxpayer dollars would be Ace of Wood. We sold that.
That was way,
It was in the 50s.
yeah. That was before the Corps built anything.
I think that is the last building that was built with taxpayer dollars. And they had to do a bond for it, I think is what they did.
Well, and my concern too is that we put Band-Aids on it. Eventually, we're gonna get that perfect storm of this needs, and this needs replaced. We're not gonna have any money. That's my concern. Because, I mean, you guys do a very good job of doing what we can with what we got, but eventually that luck's gonna run out, I think, unfortunately. I don't personally want a mill levy.
To pay for it.
I don't
I'd be
either,
more
but
likely to support a specific one than just a general one. I think people want to know exactly where their money is going, not just, so we can provide lunches for everybody. I mean, people have opinions on where their
Well,
tax dollars should go and they should.
You could do the general fund and then, I mean, you're right, lunches, teacher salary and building. I mean, you could hit all 3 with,
you have to be real careful when you say salaries.
Yeah, I won't go. That's,
I'm not
Well, no,
saying-
see, I'm saying the opposite. I don't think that we should be providing lunches for everybody.
no, I was just saying in general, you could do it out of the general fund and be more specific on what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
gonna spend it on.
Yeah.
But have the flexibility if something does come up.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I was trying to
Right.
say. I wasn't necessarily saying the lunches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's out there. And yeah, I do agree with the salary one. That's a tough one, but
it'd be hard to sell it in the community. But from my perspective, I had a conversation with Tom Gallagher today, and he said the difference in the candidates for the paraprofessionals this year, because we raised that a significant amount
Yes.
of money. What was it, $3? Right?
was it some?
Oh,
yes,
the quality
yes.
of the paraprofessionals that
Yes.
applied have not.
And
That was a tough move, but a smart move. I think it's one we had to.
That, I think that was a really smart
No,
move.
it's interesting. Yeah.
I was talking to a lady that we interviewed a couple of years ago for the lunch program. And we were just like, wow, she is really great. And then, oh, I'd love to be with the kids and all this kind of stuff. And I currently work at Rose Others. And she said, well, how much do I make? And
Yeah.
you just see her go,
Yeah,
I can't work for that.
yeah,
And so,
Now we're competitive.
yeah, that's great.
so yeah, that'd be interesting. And I would again look at that same recipe and try and inform people what takes place across the state. Because it's just, when I was in Circle, we never even advertised for mill levies. We just told people to vote.
Yeah.
It's such an ingrained thing. Yes, we know we have to do this. Yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
Well, they understood where things came from and that things were out.
Well, when your liability insurance goes up
Oh,
$40,000 a year,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
that alone.
And that's taking Ace of Wood
Water's
off too.
going up.
what fund does that come out of again?
The general,
The-
as does water. Water's going up too.
Surprise.
Garbage.
And I have a feeling garbage is gonna increase.
Yeah.
Because I read that the county is going to increase the amount they charge Evergreen Disposal. by
Oh, I think I heard that too.
$270.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
So you know where that's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
go right down to the consumer. I'm gonna budget some extra for garbage because I think it's going
Free
up.
bottled water. Yeah, they were talking about bringing in another outfit to bid on it too, to get a second garbage company here.
So I just feel like in the district, we're in pretty good financial shape. I mean, we don't have money laying around trying to figure out what to do with it. But again, I think there has been some really good decisions made over the years. So
Well, I think like Sam said, you and Leslie need to be appreciated for what you've done. But I also think that if we're really thinking about a mill levy, we need to just start talking in the community about things that need to be fixed. You know, attention needs to be given to things.
Yeah.
And we were also fortunate for like the high school concession stand, the community chipped in.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
they really did.
Yeah, but like you pointed out, football stands are gonna be an issue soon.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even bring that up. Yeah, I forgot to tell everybody about that. The football stands are,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like standing there and making sure, wait a minute, sir,
yeah.
you need to be over there.
Yeah, because.
I have a scale right. They look great though, don't they?
Yeah, those bleachers were in bad shape, weren't they, Ellen? The bleachers at the high school?
Oh, yeah, they're in bad shape.
Yeah, so.
And that's why I say the building fund.
And Sam, to your point, again, the roofs, even if we, get on this, $17 per square foot rotation, which I think makes really good sense. It's still gonna be expensive.
Well, $17 a square foot this year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
20 next year.
right now.
I told him, I said, well, that means it doubles every 10 years. He goes, yeah, that's about right. How do you know that? So I told him how the rule 72 works. Should have charged me. So.
Because when was the last time we've done any maintenance on a roof?
The
Yeah.
yellow pod maintenance mean? Well, we've had,
Does that count buckets?
we've had maintenance done on the shop roof. We urethane that, put a 10-year warranty on it. That was a good move.
That was a couple years ago, right?
Yep, and then this year that we had, when those guys came and did their work, asked them to do maintenance work on that as well. And
I just look at the number of roofs we have, because you have to count each pod. I mean,
it's like 5 acres.
yeah. So if we don't have a steady maintenance plan where we're fixing,
Bingo.
we're gonna be,
You know-
like Kristan said, we're gonna be moving buckets.
We're just like everything else in this country. The infrastructure's been left. And now it's really a mess.
We need to be more reactive than.
Then, yeah,
So the great example of that is Columbia Falls. And ever since I left there, the whole place
Fell apart.
just fell apart, from 1989. But they had a roof leak that they didn't deal with. And they ended up having to not only re-roof, they had to rebuild some of the metal structures
Really?
underneath it. It was like.
well, we were lucky with the accident we had.
Mhm.
Well, it's like the city of Libby, the water system.
Bingo.
There's good infrastructure that hasn't been dealt with, and now it's an issue, and who's paying for it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and to that note, they did not increase water rates for how many years? 10 plus years?
Something like that, yeah.
To maintain it, and then it caught them in the butt.
And a lot of angry
You
people.
know, it was like 10 years, I think they said that they hadn't.
I think,
increased
yeah, I
the
think
water
that
rates.
was, yeah.
And then they went from no increases to a max increase in 1 year.
Right, and that's what everybody's so upset
Yeah.
about.
And I guess that's what I'm saying, I'm afraid of, if we wait, we're gonna need it and not have it.
Well, like Rob said, so it doesn't pass, we run it again. I mean, we've got to try. So the state isn't going to give us another $1 million.
I do agree 100%. We just gotta tell them the talking points.
Mm-hmm.
You guys
Here's
tell
the
them,
fixed price with the estimate money's gone, and now do we?
Which is good anyway. We want people to be,
Yes.
be more engaged and have more
Yes.
information about our district. And that just,
I
that builds on itself.
I think this
versus-
parking lot out here, that's a good thing. I mean, it's seen by the public, it'll be used by the public.
A lot.
And yeah,
A lot.
I like the way the buildings look. If you haven't driven by the high school, and the other one that I just think is worth looking at is a little axe, not the big axe, that's on the music. That looks so good. And
where's it?
Where's that?
if you drive in, it's like you're gonna drive up to drop off a kid. There's a little axe. It's not little. It's about 15 feet long.
Oh,
It barely fit in the back of my pickup. I thought I'd just throw it in the back of my pickup. Put a Yeah, but we sanded it down and we put a clear coat on it and then
Really?
it's stainless steel axe head.
Oh, I
And
haven't
we,
seen it.
and we had it buffed out. It looks like a mirror now. It looks really good. And that's not just for the point of, look at us. It represents us and it also represents our mindset
Mhm.
that this is a place of excellence. And I just don't think there's a lot of times when you're like, I take really good care of my house, but then I let everything else go to pot in my life. No, it's a consistency that has to take place. And our buildings were getting kind of shaggy when Craig Behringer showed up and we spent some money. That was helpful. But even this last little bit of money that we've had, that I think is really nice too.
Shop doors got painted, I saw that, looked good.
Yeah, before and after pictures.
I
Yeah,
didn't see it before and after, we saw it before, you did that tour.
I have a belief that somebody would not be doing baseball pitching activities in front of those doors if they would have been painted. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because yeah, you look at her, there's,
Couple tents.
yeah, there's some dimples on that thing. So, anyway.
Cool.
so you ready to vote? We have to vote on this.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, we do.
I move that we approve the 2024, 2025 budgets as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Ellen and a second by Rob. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? It passed.
Now the real work starts.
Yeah.
Don't get to divide that over a bunch of thousands
With the
of
media,
years.
yeah.
we adjourn.
So,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Everybody watching it.
Just a minute.
Okay. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I just wanted to share one of the